Contribution of 700,000 towards the burial expenses.
During a requiem mass for her husband, John Baptist Kakooza, Lady Justice Irene Mulyagonja expressed the agony she went through in attempting to obtain quality health care for him.
Kept on going lower. We left that hospital. We went to Nsambya Hospital. It had also become, I thought Nsambya was a place where we could find refuge. It had also become more expensive. We left it and went to Mulago Hospital, and I can write a book about Mulago Hospital. It's called a specialized hospital. But it comes to a point, and this speaks to health care in this country. Let him who has ears hear.
She added that, despite being in an exclusive facility, she struggled to get the most basic of facilities. Kakooza had been admitted to the private ward of Mulago National Referral Hospital on April 9th this year. She concluded that, in her observation, the hospital was now a white elephant.
We have that hospital there, but I think it's just a monument.
She felt that Mulago National Specialized Hospital would be a last resort. However, despite being in the private wing, 6B, basic medical supplies like insulin and nasogastric NG tubes, she says, were unavailable. NG tubes are crucial for feeding patients who cannot eat normally. According to her, the hospital staff would promise to insert the tube but fail to follow through.
At the end of his life, Mr. Kakooza failed to eat. But you can come to a day where they tell you, oh, we are going to put an NG tube. Someone comes in the morning and says, oh, we'll put an NG tube. He disappears. The next person comes on duty and says, oh, we are going to put an NG tube, and he disappears. Then finally in the evening, someone comes and says, you know what? We don't have.
She says the hospital also struggled to perform routine tests like complete blood counts, CBC, in a timely manner. When they needed certain critical medication, she says, the hospital staff would ask them to source some from elsewhere.
You cannot take a CBC and it takes 24 hours for you to get a result. And you are in 6B, National Specialized Hospital. And then the tests, if you want blood work, they will tell you, we can do this one and we can do this one. The rest of them, please go outside and do them there.
However, Mulago Hospital's management has a different account of events. According to them, Kakooza received quality care during his stay and his condition improved significantly before he was discharged on May 6th.
As a hospital, we want to affirm that the patient received high quality care from our multidisciplinary medical team that followed established protocols and guidelines for managing his multiple illnesses. The patient was discharged from our hospital in a much better condition than he arrived in. He could sit in bed, he could talk, communicate, and the attendants also reported improvement, and that's why we were able to discharge him. He was much brighter, and when he was leaving, actually was like gesturing and exchanging pleasantries with the people who were attending to him.
The hospital now says Kakooza's attendant initially rejected to use an NG tube, which was documented in the hospital files.
Clinical laboratory tests done then gave us at least a diagnosis for which we started him on treatment. The empirical treatment which we initially instituted included passing an nasogastric tube, which would enable us to feed him until on the 15th of April, 6 days later, when the attendant agreed that we pass that NG tube. And this was documented on file.
John Baptist Kakooza was reportedly discharged from the hospital on May 6th after recovering full consciousness. However, it all comes at a time when the hospital is struggling with less than adequate medical supplies. The hospital, which had sought an annual budget allocation of 18.2 billion shillings, Parliament only allocated them approximately 17.756 billion shillings in the national budget for the next financial year. The hospital's infrastructure and equipment are reportedly inadequate, leading to patient referrals to private laboratories for tests and treatments. Lydia Felly Akullu, NTV.